Hello, everybody. This is the Meta Forecast. My name is Amagedon, and I have some beautiful guests today for to the count. Number one is Savant.
Hello.
Then we have
Right.
Invoker.
Hey.
We have a Doctor,
Yeah.
and we have Asmodeus.
Hey.
And we're gonna talk about pretty much mostly patch 5.13 today. Of course, hitting big, having some quite important changes. So, yeah, let's start right off. Big thing, of course, the AP item changes. So yeah, what do you think?
Well, where to begin, really?
Yeah, we should probably start with like what has actually changed. They're streamlining a lot of items into being 100 AP or 80 AP, so that all items are kind of the same amount of AP, right?
Yeah, I really like how they've sort of solidified the roles of each item. Like, Deathcap is the only 120 AP item now, and because they've buffed the ratio, the percent bonus AP, it's really solidified is that if you want damage, you go Deathcap. And they just sort of given each of the items more of an identity to get some of that strategic diversity, TM.
Yeah, so you choose the utility, like you get the similar power from each item, and the same cost, but you choose the utility that you need on the champion you're playing. And
Yeah.
another thing they changed is the different build path, right? Because the items have different costs, so that will actually play out differently in lane because you will have certain items earlier or later. So that will actually mix up a lot of things how it plays out in the lane.
Yeah, I like how they just sort of made it clearer. It's easier for you now to choose either Ludens or Deathcap because Ludens you can now get earlier because it's cheaper. And Deathcap is definitely I'm in it for the long run. I want the big AP, spike in the late game, sort of thing.
Okay, so let's start with the most basic change, I guess. Needless Large Rod changed to 60 AP for 125 gold. What do you
Oh.
think?
Yeah, 1,250 gold.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
125.
125 0.
Pretty low.
Okay, so what
I
do you
think it's
think?
an amazing item if it's 125. No, it's actually really good because a lot of the times, needlessly, feels like you have to get that 1,600 gold. That's so big. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot you have to save up on. And now that it is cheaper, even though it gives less AP, you can still, you can still get it earlier, which feels really good, I think.
They've really smoothed out the mages as build paths with this. Because, before you'd go back with 1500 and you just cry yourself to sleep. But now, you go back 1500, you can get tons of pots, you can get wards, and you can get a rod.
So, who does this help the most? Do you think? What do you think?
This helps everyone
Yeah, anyone
because it builds into more items now as well.
Mm.
So this helps everyone who just makes your back more efficient. Like every time you back, you can buy something important. Like instead of having to save and let's say you have this 1300 gold and you back to the base and you cannot buy anything if you are saving up for let's say the Rabadon's Deathcap or you really need the Sonias and you already have the Seekers Arm Guard and you don't have enough for the large rod, then you just come back to the lane with nothing. And this is probably one of the bigger things that forced them, like pushed them to make this change, like having something to buy all the time and not having to wait as long for the item.
Okay, one thing that I thought of, it's now 350, actually only 300 gold cheaper than a BF sword. Bottom lane gets their gold a bit later anyway, so if you roam there, you probably can get, if the timing fits perfectly, you might be able to get them before they get their first spec. What do you think?
I mean,
That's very
yeah, it's
game
pretty
dependent.
huge. Yeah, but it's quite situational. It really depends because, well, now because tanks are becoming more and more prominent, you're seeing a lot more poke and a lot more sustain. Yeah, a lot more sustain. Mainly like to beat, for example, AP Ezreal. sustain is pretty helpful there. And so I'm seeing, I don't know about you, but especially with the Spirit of Visage change, seeing a few more things like Soraka, Lulu, which isn't really sustained, but seeing a lot more sustain. And that does mean that bot lanes will be staying there longer. So I feel like if there wasn't such a heavy poke meta, then we wouldn't be in the situation that you described. But seeing as there is a lot more poke, and then therefore a lot more sustain, bot lanes will be staying to, it's more common that bot lanes would be sort of in lane waiting for that BF sword, So maybe this will be pretty game changing actually. Like, I haven't thought about it until you just mentioned it. But that'd be great to see in like competitive.
The different benchmarks, the different points at which you have to now back and get the different points at which you get to spend the gold now change, like when you can back, when you can roam, when you can come back to lane with a certain amount of power, and that will mix things up in a ways that are very difficult to predict. So we'll have to see how it works out in the certain matchups, because in a matchup where somebody would have to save a really long time for a needlessly large rod, now he can do it faster, so now he has like less of a time where he doesn't have that much power that he cannot use. So that will change some matchups probably, that in a ways that are difficult to predict.
Okay, so yeah, let's head to the items that it builds into. You already mentioned Rabadon's Deathcap, so let's go over to Luden's. It got reduced in cost, reduced in AP, but got a lot more movement speed. What do you think?
I mean,
Well,
you want to go? Yeah.
well, the movement speed is going to help a lot with roaming, especially for people who are building Ludens and a Lich Bane. They'll have just ridiculous movement speed, to be pretty good, and might, open up some more opportunities for AP roaming mid laners, I guess.
I mean, again, and it does say this like right in the patch notes, but it's really solidified sort of its role. If you want to roam, if you want to be slippery, then get this. And I'm happy with that, because it's not every champion rushes this now, or whereas before, just about every AP champ was getting this first item. It's like now it is more situational, but it's cheaper. You're hitting your spikes earlier. I think it's a really good change.
Another thing how it helps roaming champions is because it lets you wave clear faster, so you can push the lane faster and then roam. So that's another thing why it would help roaming champions, and why they would like to pick this over, let's say, Deathcap or Zhonya's first.
Also, it's no longer like, hey, we need to get the max amount of late game AP, so I'm just going to build Ludens because it's 120. It's not that item anymore, which is very important.
Yeah, Zhonya's also got reduced in cost. I don't think that will change much. What do you think?
Nah. I think
It will help top laners that build it.
Yeah, like
a Swain.
Lysandra.
Yes.
Yeah, even
that's-
like Vladimir and Rumble are the most popular champions that build it in the top lane, and they will just be able to get it faster and also have the more comfortable build path with the cheaper, needlessly large rods. So these champions that were already strong in the top lane, like Vlad and Rumble, will be probably even stronger with this change.
What do you think about Cannon in this? Because he obviously likes to go for Hourglass. Will we see more Cannon?
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see more Cannon because of Rylai's and Liandry's as well, which is going to be strong on him. But if he gets his Zhonya's earlier, it will mean, if he's TPing down to Dragon Pit, he's going to have that Zhonya's for that team fight utility maybe a bit earlier than he normally would.
Well, that's 300 gold. I think that's not the biggest change, but maybe with the needlessly large rod, that might be the big thing.
I think
Maybe,
it helps.
It
Like,
hasn't changed too much. It's still
It's 300
What?
gold.
but it still does what it did before.
Mhm.
And it's not as huge a change as Rabadon's, but it's nice to get it that little bit earlier.
Yeah, I guess the AP to cost ratio is probably almost the same.
pretty
Oops.
much.
Moving on, Rylai's. Got the cost increased.
Yep.
Still 100 AP, still 400 health. now has a different build path, and the slows got increased, especially on area of effect, 40%. So what do you think?
I mean, one big thing you have to take into consideration here is the changes to slows in general. Like, not stacking means that if you kind of want to build this if you don't have a slow already, I guess, in your kit, instead of just stacking a lot of slows, which you could see in some other champions before building this.
So let's segue into there. Slows got changed; they don't stack anymore. What do you think?
So that's gonna be like, this is kind of a way of them evening out the playing field a little bit. And there is a lot of older champions that people would like to see reworked because like they're immobile and they cannot deal so much with the newer champions who have better mobility, better CC, and like just better kits in general. So this change will like make it so it's slightly less punishing for the melee champions against stacking slows. And also like champions that already have kits that involve slows, and they will have other choices, and champions that don't will have choice, like let's say buying this Rylai and having it a little bit stronger of a utility item as opposed to before. And I think I like that change because it like makes the playing field more even, so more champions can become viable.
I mean, Rylai is just huge. Not huge, but because the AoE part has been buffed so much.
Yes.
Just, you know, as we know, Vlad was already in a pretty good spot before, but now he's just got this perma slow essentially of 40% with his Tides of Blood. So not only is he now this split pushing machine, but if he can lay down his ult, like a 4 or 5 man ult in a team fight, and he just walks in and starts spamming E, no one's getting away from him. I think he's going to be a pretty dominant pick this patch, along with quite a few other people, as Ken, as we said. I think Swain as well. I think Swain would be pretty good in this patch.
Also, it got, it stayed at 100 AP, so it's now an elite AP item. I think that's pretty good. So, yeah, you got a lot of AP for the buck, compared to the other items these days.
Yeah, you're not sacrificing AP anymore. That's the big thing. Before, if you wanted utility, you had to sacrifice the AP, and now after the change, you just choose between which item you want. Do you want the power, or do you want this utility or this utility item? The choice is much clearer.
So I just wanted to ask one time about Karthus. Getting a lot more slows on the Q.
It might be ridiculous. You can just hit every Q.
I hadn't even thought about Karthus.
I hadn't either until a second ago, and I thought Karthus might be good actually. He just puts down his wall of pain, walks up, has his AoE, or that's I'm not sure. Does it? Is it? It's not damage over time, right?
No.
I mean, it doesn't matter because the Q, right? It should slow anyways.
Yeah, but you have to hit one Q.
Use AoE though. Technically, if it only hits one person, I don't know if it then gets counted as singles. Oh wait, no, they're the same now, aren't they?
The Q is
Yeah,
always counted as a single target if it hits but one person. If you hit one target with Q, it counts as a single target spell.
Okay.
If you
thinking more the E.
So,
If that's damage over time or not. I believe it should.
It's not damage over time. I don't think.
As far as I heard it somewhere. I'm not sure if it was correct, but somebody said if you have one in there, it's damage over time. If you have multiple people in there, it's AoE. I'm not sure. I just read it somewhere. I'm not sure if that is correct. I guess some people should test that out. So,
it's just an AoE ability.
Yeah.
It's just a 20% drop.
Rylai's on
too much.
Rylai's on Cassiopeia is going to be pretty huge as well.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So
She already has the slow with her W though.
It's very small though, the
Yeah.
W slow, and this just means it's
you
kinda
reapply it all the time. They can't
crazy
get away.
perma slow.
Yeah. Moving over to Liandry's, skipping over some of the other items because Liandry's actually works quite well with Rylai's.
Yeah.
It now has a better build path, and it gets 80 AP now.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It puts it not quite top tier, but it's the 80 AP tier. That's massive. It's so much better now, especially with the Rylai's buffs.
Yeah, it's again the case of not having to sacrifice power for the utility. So again, if you need to build, let's say you play champion like Lysandra, who benefits really well for this item, you could sacrifice, like, let's say you don't build Luden's Echo before, but you build Liandry's Torment, and you thought, like, maybe I could have more AP and do better against these kinds of champions instead of having this Liandry's Torment, because it wasn't as good in a slot. But now, since it's more expensive and more powerful, you don't have to sacrifice that AP to get this spell penetration and
Well,
damage.
it's not even that more expensive. I mean, it's 100 gold.
What's that?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
5 CS?
Still,
It's just
it just
bigger
that the item is more expensive, meaning it should have more power. I think that's what
Oh,
is
okay. I
meant.
thought expensive in terms of money. Okay.
yeah, it's just better in as a taking up a slot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
more slot efficient.
Okay, so what do you think about Singed in this discussion?
I mean, Singed got some buffs as well in himself.
They're
So
really pushing that one in there, aren't they?
yeah, like
yeah.
if they
Flame.
both buff Singe's items and like him as a champion, he might become ridiculous. They've
There
done
we
this in the
go.
past with a lot of the other champions,
Yeah.
buffing both items for it and the champion itself, or nerfing the items for the champion and nerfing the champion. That just kind of puts it into crap tier or really god tier sometimes.
I mean, you say buffing the items, they've buffed Seraphs and Rod. So, yeah,
Those are
Well,
Singed
Singed,
items,
Cassidy,
yeah.
Swain,
But
all brilliant. Well,
But I don't think,
uh,
Singed is in a great place at the moment, so
No.
I'm not sure this is enough to make him good again.
And also the buffs weren't that huge. I mean, were you ever rooted by Singed before?
No, because I never played
mean,
against him.
I haven't seen it since that changed.
I mean, it
Okay.
really almost doesn't happen, so the duration isn't that huge. I guess the magic resist might help him a bit.
Yeah,
Well-
that does help him, yeah.
But that's again because now if they're buffing AP items, then Singed needs to survive against that, I guess. That makes
It is a
Yeah.
lot
similar
of sense.
case. It is a similar case to Urgot, who got like several buffs over time, and suddenly people realized he's actually good. So Singed is getting like small buffs that by themselves may not bring him to being played competitively or anything, but they just make him better over time. So he's just becoming a little bit better, and it's probably in a better spot right now after the changes to his MR and the items.
We need to talk about the biggest Singed buff, which is that he spams laugh whenever you use a Z.
Yeah,
Like,
that
this
is
is
like really
Game
important.
breaking.
Yeah,
That's
that-
ridiculously OP.
I mean that is so demoralizing. He just runs around you and flings you and laughs at you.
It's because now I don't have to spam Control and 4
Yeah.
when I'm trying to BM. It does it for me. This is
Okay, there's-
basically scripting.
Actually,
Yeah.
Just for less
Actually,
mechanically gifted
let's
players.
talk about this. Does this make Singed the most hated champion over Teemo?
Not yet. Not yet.
I
He
think
is-
that's very difficult.
He is one of the trolliest champions. I don't know whether he's more or less trolly than Teemo.
I would put even
right.
Fiddlesticks above Singed.
Well, in
Right
terms
now,
of trolling.
right now, after he got stomped into the ground by Runeglaive.
No, but they also, they buffed Sonya's a bit, or they changed Sonya's, so now at least they kind of gave him a bit of something.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
where
could
does
just-
he go? I mean, in the jungle, he doesn't have a good time right now.
Well, the thing is,
What? He's a
with
fine
Sin,
thing.
with
Yeah,
Fiddle,
he's fine, but that's about it. I mean,
I didn't used to build Magus on him if I managed to get 1600 gold, but now of course you don't need to get 1600 to get the large rod, so you
Mhm.
can just not upgrade your machete and just get
Yeah.
Sonya straight up.
can get
You
the
still
trail-
upgrade the
trail.
machete.
Yeah, you probably get the like
The freezing
stalkers.
smite or something, yeah.
The
Yeah.
Trailblazer to help clear AoE and get mana back.
You got to get
Yeah.
Cinderhulk for the ult synergy. That's one of these
But
things.
but definitely upgrading it's so important because of the 30 gold instead of 15 gold per big monster. If you farm the
Yeah.
jungle a lot, which you will do with Fiddlesticks until like having those crazy ultis, then that extra gold it's so important.
Yeah, that and more mana sustain.
Yeah, just get Devourer and farm him up.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so going back a bit, Archangel Staff, 20 more AP. I guess it's a good buff, but it doesn't change much, right? Like, if you need a tier, you're gonna build it, and if you don't need a tier, you don't build it.
I mean,
It's nice for
it puts
tier
it on the same
users.
tier.
I
No
mean,
pun intended.
Yeah, but but nobody will pick up a tier instead of Morellos now before due to that change, I think.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What? Can't stack it.
Fuck
the
my
good
life.
thing about Archangels is though, I mean, we already talked about Rod being buffed a bit, right? So
Get that extra
kinda,
mana.
Yeah, you get a lot of extra mana, so it kind of
Big
has a
issue.
big synergy there. Like, Archangel Rod might actually give you more AP than the old Ludens plus Sonya's, right?
In general,
Right.
champions will get more AP now because of the items and Deathcap. Like, people tested it and did the math, and
Yeah.
in general, on many champions, you just get more AP and on the full build with Deathcap.
Yeah, I think I played a game today with just standard items on, I don't really remember, but I got 1100. You didn't usually see 1100 AP as much as like 900 or something. It's kind of crazy.
Okay. Void Staff got put in place as well. Got 80 AP now. Got a bit more expensive. Nothing to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, just made him a little bit
actually.
less gold efficient because it was like just too good of an item, so they made it more expensive, even more expensive than the 10 AP change would like justify.
Yeah.
Just make it a little bit less gold efficient because it was so good.
Yeah, but
Ridiculous.
everything got a little less gold efficient overall, right? Like everything, like at least the major AP items, the 120 AP items.
Leandry's got more gold efficient, I think.
Yeah, I meant
Yeah.
the 120 AP items
Yeah.
overall. So I guess this puts it in line.
But Void Staff's always going to be good, though. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's fair to be, like, it's super fair.
I mean,
And late
you
game, it's
have
always
to
gonna
get
be
it
better.
anyways. You have to get it at some point on most real heavy AP champions.
Mhm.
So, Nashors?
Nashors.
Hmm.
I mean, really,
Not a big deal. Just adding again to having more AP on champions because it has more AP, less attack speed, and just putting the power of ability power items just closer to each other so that you choose the utility again instead of choosing between, do I want a really powerful item or something that works well with my champion. So again, you have the similar power on the items.
Okay, so the question, who's gonna build it?
well, I mean,
will anyone except for Kayle build it?
yeah, that's it. The whole patch seems like Riot's just sort of sat in the corner, and when you're sat there in solo queue going, hey, who should I play today? Riot's just sat in the corner going, why not Kayle? Play a bit of Kayle today, mate.
Mhm.
Maybe, I mean, it kind of helps Teemo because, you always want that bit of extra AP for your shrooms, for your poison. Attack speed's kind of overrated on Teemo. Well, in my opinion,
Depends.
at least.
Well, we
Attack
got a Teemo expert here.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it's Teemo mate.
So the thing with attacks with this item and Teemo is it doesn't change much. I mean, different playstyles for different items, but Teemo is the second highest base attack speed champion in the game. That's why attack speed is really good on him, and because it synergizes with like building on hit effects and his E. So, but the 20 AP swing, it should make it basically the same item. So it doesn't change much. And it makes it better for other champions like Diana. So the item is actually more useful for other champions that build it. But for champions that like Kayle and Teemo, it's about the same.
Yeah, but would you get it on Diana
Yeah,
as
exactly.
opposed to, I don't know, Lichbane, Ludens?
Depends on the playstyle, mostly.
Yeah.
Here, I think.
People
I
have been
feel
talking
like-
about on-hit Diana, but I'm not convinced.
Yeah, it's like,
Me neither.
it's kind of like it works, but don't. It's like you could play, you could
Yeah.
play AD Ezreal, Or you could play 8.
I'm never really convinced about on-hit melee champions that build like really squishy items, because they're just gonna die before they get their on-hit effects out most of the time.
Warwick is like the champion that comes to mind that does it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I say that every game, and then Yi comes running at you at 200 miles an hour, and you're like, oh, well, looks like I was wrong.
Right.
Okay, Will of the Ancients, I guess. Vladimir's of the world celebrate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Then again, like, I mean, we talked about tanks maybe going away a bit now, and then this item becomes a bit worse in a way because of that, but maybe not. It's gonna probably be the same mostly. Will of the Ancients.
It's just a little. It's just buff for champions who build it against tanks. That's mostly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
top lane Vladimir, things like that.
It's kind of. It's not actually that good against minions now, I guess, because usually you deal mostly true damage to minions or something like that, just because of magic pen and all that. Now it doesn't heal as much off minions.
So if
That's
you want to,
mostly it.
if you want to maximize your value, what you have to do is you have to let them take the inhib, so that they get the super minions. So there's the magic resist buff, so that you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wait,
Okay.
but weren't super minions like shit nerfed in that regard?
They give out
They're-
AoE magic resist, don't they?
I always thought they just got a whole bunch of HP. Let me
They
check.
buff each other, so when there's
Yeah.
two super minions
There's
next
two.
to each
It's
other,
ridiculous.
they're so much more stronger than just one on its own.
Mm.
Let me check the numbers on that for a second.
And
I
they
guess
give out
against Baron
30.
minions, it's really good.
Yeah.
Gold.
But
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think it changes much. This item, Will of the Ancients, it's just kind of the
They actually
same.
got minus 30 magic resist.
Okay.
So
They,
I guess
They buff themselves, I think, as well as everything else.
they might buff it, but they probably won't get over 0 with that. Okay.
Who else uses Will of the Ancients? Like, I don't
Akali
really know.
maybe?
No,
She
Gunblade.
goes
Guys,
Gunblade, of course. Immorta and I mean,
Numero uno.
Yeah. You can use it on Rise as well.
Yeah.
But I think the key word there is can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of better items.
Yeah. Then we got the build path changes for Athene's and Morello's. I think that's not gonna do much, right?
No, just the
No,
quality
but
of
it's
life.
just really good.
Yeah.
Because if they change all the other AP items and just leave these out, they're gonna be pretty bad because they already, Rod of Ages and Seraphs give you a lot of mana, and these kind of also help you keep up mana. So if they don't do anything about Morellonomicron or Athene's, it kind of just makes these items kind of shit.
Also, because it's smoothing out the buy, because you now get these amp tomes,
Yeah.
it's not much, but it helps against people who are guessing the rod, because that's, if you streamline everything else and leave the mana regen, arguably the most important items in the early game for mid laners, then it all kicks off really.
Mhm.
So it's just a bit of a quality of life thing.
What do you think about Athene's now? It's actually relatively low on AP now compared to other items.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 70 now
It's just
compared to the others.
as it was.
It's still,
Yeah.
it's still fine. It was even lower before.
Yeah.
I still go for Morello's over it almost any day of the week.
It's just kind of like I buy this to spam spells all day with blue buff.
It's just
Mostly.
Galio.
Ziggs.
Or
Yeah,
Ramgal.
Ziggs.
Nice that you bring it up, Galio. We saw him yesterday in the LCS
Psycho.
actually before the changes. Don't you think we will see more Galio in the future?
He's pretty underrated. I think he has one of the highest solo queue win rates, or higher than you'd expect.
Yeah.
He's pretty underrated, but either A, people don't know what to do with him, or B, he can just be completely useless because he's so niche. Yeah.
The fact, it's actually good for him. The fact that he's niche is actually, it's a good meta for him
Yeah.
because AP poke is played in the mid lane. He's good against that. And then again, we have the item changes that bring more AP, give more AP to mages. So everybody's gonna deal more damage, which means heavy MR. Like the Galio, the counter champion to AP and magic damage is gonna be probably a little bit better.
I mean, I
We
think
might see more AP top laners as well because of the new item changes. So we might see more double AP, and Galio would be definitely good against a double AP comp.
See, I think that's where people are going wrong. Is he saying more AP top laners? The more AP top laners are Galio.
Yeah.
I think you don't want to put him in the mid lane. Although you think, oh, hey, they've got an AP. That's brilliant. I think he actually works a lot better if you play him nearly identically to a Maokai, for example.
Yeah, definitely. Because
Yeah.
you mean TP with someone
You're
like Galio is really, really strong because you
It's
can
huge.
TP bot, do the big ult.
3-man it. Easy.
It's really crazy that way.
So we talked already about roaming being a bit better with the new cost for the Needles Without Rod. Will you see some assassins back? Some AP assassins like LeBlanc?
Again, if
fine.
tanks are going away,
Yeah,
then yes,
tanks are
assassins
going,
come
they're
back
coming
back in. That's
And then when they come back,
Yeah.
tanks come back.
kind of the cycle. So
There's
yeah,
no winning.
assassins. Katarina maybe.
I mean, we have the poke mid laners. They are squishy, I guess. We have the AD carries that are always squishy.
But you got to think of the that sort of little triumvirate where the sort of poke beats all in, beats sustain, beats poke.
Yeah.
So I don't think assassins are going to be back right now, but I think they'll be back maybe next patch and a bit later. I mean, not to say that assassins aren't in a great spot right now. You've seen Zed; he can literally single-handedly win a game with this beautiful bug. I don't know how Riot managed to pull that one.
But
But
I
yeah,
mean,
give it time.
it's very common for Riot also to make like assassins really good before Worlds, so we're probably gonna see it around that time.
Got to see
Someone,
Corky buffs.
all those corgi buffs and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
Trinity
Trinity
Force now does 300% damage. Okay, so I guess we're done with the AP items.
Yeah.
Anything that wasn't addressed here?
Not that I can
I mean,
see.
there always gonna be things, but mostly just all the champions building specific items. They might change a bit in, how good they are.
We should probably go over Roa. There's not much to say, but we didn't really.
Yeah.
It's just worse earlier,
Well,
better
actually, we
later.
segued in from I think Liandry's a bit. We segued in a bit,
Really?
but
There's not much to say.
yeah.
Okay.
That's why we didn't do much
Okay.
in that direction.
Get an incredible cost efficiency once it's fully stacked. That's about it.
It's
Yeah.
cheaper as well.
Yeah,
so
but that was always
value.
the case, I guess.
Yeah, but it's even more ridiculous now, I believe. And it's a 100 AP item now, right?
I think
So-
that's what it grows up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be that. So that's kind of nice to
That's
put it
actually
in line
quite-
with other stuff.
Yeah, it already
quite
was one of
sizable
the
health now.
most cost-efficient items. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the second most important change, I guess, this patch.
Yeah.
The Sated Devourer.
Yeah. Just before we go into this, if Devourer junglers are going to get more popular as opposed to the Cinderhulk tank ones, that might be something that helps assassins come back as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was talking to Amagedon yesterday. What I reckon, this is my take, is that there's a sort of, if Devourer's good, you're going to have early games going to be good. So you fire Kha'Zix Lee to counter jungle and stop the Devourer's stacking.
Yeah.
Then when they're good, the tanks will come back in to stop them late game. Yeah. And then when the tanks are back in, the Devourers come in because, Wit's End will be shredding them, or
Yeah.
will be shredding them,
Yeah.
That's
But
where
that's
I
a-
kind of disagree, because my problem with that is you will have to build 2 damage items, like Devourer, Wit's End, Devourer, Blade, something like that. So you're going to be incredibly squishy.
It's really reliant on your comp. But
Yeah.
Kayle, as you know, as we
Yeah.
said, she doesn't. I don't want to say she doesn't care about being tanky, but she almost doesn't.
Yeah, because she's
Oh.
ranged, like kind of
She's
ranged.
ranged, yeah. And you know her passive as well coming in, the
Okay.
Holy Fervor.
So Kayle, will we see more Kayle with this?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I think
sure.
Kayle's really
Yeah.
strong.
She really, well, in my experience, she struggles quite a bit early. Or at least just from me playing, I've probably got like horrendous runes or something. But that first clear, or the first 2-3 camps is pretty difficult for her.
It actually got buffed with this change.
Yeah,
because now
her E.
yeah, her E is changed, so now she's gonna be having
It's
easier
okay.
time. And yeah, I've played her with a lot of attack speed, and early on, her clear is just fine.
It's okay. Yeah, like when you get blue, you can spam heals, which is really good.
Actually, there was a video by Chakras that showed that you can bug the blue buff again. That might be changed soon, but you can get them stuck behind 2 minions again. So
Yeah,
that
that's
might help pretty
gonna
much
be
with this
changed for sure.
early clear.
Yeah, obviously. but that's
Also, of course, the e-buffs so that you get some of the on it even when the E is not on. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess it will not be too bad.
Yeah, that does help when your E's down and when you don't have enough CDR to keep it up. Just helping you clear against like the buff camps and stuff.
All right.
So what else?
Well,
So-
the Devourer in general. What's changed? Let's go about.
So you cannot stack it indefinitely anymore. You have a cap at which it stops, and different things give you different amounts. So like for a dragon, you get 5 stacks. For a scuttle crab, you get 2 stacks, and for large monsters, you get 1. So the priority changes a little bit. You can champions like Warwick, for example, which I've been spamming in solo queue a lot recently. You can take a dragon at level 2 if the enemy jungler doesn't go to Scuttle Crab after his first buff. You can take a dragon at level 2. Then you can clear your jungle after you get level 6 and the Devourer, and then you come back with the level 6 Devourer and do the second dragon and get instantly like 7 stacks from the Scuttle Crab and the dragon, if the game works out that way. So he's one of the better champions at stacking it, one of the better champions at using it, and one of the better champions against other champions that stack it. Let's say Master E just wants to queue into your team, you just lock him down with ultimate. So in general, stacking it, champions that rely on attack speed and scale with attack speed are going to be the ones that use it the most.
The big one that she was good before the patch, but Shyvana
Yeah.
is absolutely huge because you're resetting her Q's cooldown, you're proccing her E, the on hit bit. What's it called? Dragon's Breath. That's
Yeah.
one. You're proccing that 3 times in 2 autos. I don't know if her Q. I don't know if you if you time it properly. I don't know if you hit like 4 times or something. I haven't actually tried that one out.
No.
No,
Do you
3
not?
times.
But also they made a recent change to Shyvana so that her W
Exactly.
also
Looks
does
better.
the on hit thing when you have it on, which helps this item again.
Oh, does it
Bit.
proc the on hit, the 30 damage?
Yeah, whatever
Ah.
it is.
And for Shyvana, you can go tanky after Devourer immediately, in my opinion. So
Yes.
Yeah.
You can.
that helps a lot, I think.
With Shyvana, it's so good because you can build different items, right? You can go the Devourer route, but you can also go Cinder Hulk. And with her recent buffs, like she's been getting buffs along the way in the previous patches, so she's gonna be really strong right now.
What do you think
Yeah,
about her early skirmishing? Like some people said, counter jungling, harassing against Devourer is pretty good. How about Shyvana? I think she's a bit better in the early levels about
yeah,
that.
level 2, Shyvana's one of, if not the best duelist in the game,
Mm.
just
Yeah,
from
she's
her
very
burnout and her Dragon's Breath.
Yeah.
So that will help a lot.
The good thing about Shyvana now is that she's also, talk about competitive, she's quite a flex pick because there's still a few people who are trying Smite top.
Mm.
So that's always nice when champions can be played either way. It's just
Yeah.
something I like to see.
Shy really loves her.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's nice, I guess.
Also, like one of Shyvana's biggest weaknesses is being kited by slows, and now that the slow stacking thing is less effective, that makes her a bit better.
Yeah, that's another case of like multiple buffs and nerfs to things that align just to make one champion much stronger.
Would you say you go skirmishers or do you go the slow?
You need the
probably go
blues.
slow.
You need the blues mana
Yeah.
most of the time when you come from the jungle, because you get kited so much, and after you ultimate, people just use their gap closer to escape you, and then you have nothing to chase them if you cannot slow them with like a Blade of the Rune King or that blue smite.
Well, now that they've changed the slow stacking, so you got to think, you've got to be more tactical about if you take exhaust, because quite a few people, or most people, take exhaust over flash. Then you got the chilling smite, Bork, which usually pick up second item. So you need. It's, I guess there's a little bit more counter there.
How about Righteous Glory instead of Pork?
Yeah, you can do that. Like if you feel you're going to be too squishy with a second damage item after Devourer, I think
You definitely want Bork at some point, because
I
otherwise
think
you want
the
to fight
way too
too
good.
much still.
Blade and Randuin should like fill the role of like preventing being kited rather than Righteous Glory on Shyvana.
Oh,
Mm.
Righteous Glory got nerfed, didn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Yep.
It's only 500.
Do you want
now.
to jump on that right now?
no, let's wait.
Yeah, there's still quite a bit more to be said about. I think.
Okay, just
Other champions that are good with Devourer, like Yi and Luden, I guess, and
Yeah.
Nocturne.
There's
Yeah, the champions that auto attack a lot. And another thing that's a big change is the triple attack abilities like the Vayne W, like Gnar W, Aatrox W. These abilities now
Aatrox is balanced.
yeah, these abilities now you can proc with 2 hits. So, and also like when you build on some of these champions, something like Black Cleaver, it's gonna also stack the Black Cleaver faster.
Yeah.
So those like bruisers and champion, like for example also Gnar, right? So if we have already seen like last split, I'm not sure if this split, like last split people have been playing Gnar jungle, so that may come back simply because of the Devourer. He wants to attack a lot. He's gonna build on hit items like Black Cleaver, and his W is gonna proc on 2 hits instead of 3. So Gnar jungle may become a thing as well.
Xin Zhao as well, didn't we say?
yeah, we
It's
actually
knock up
tested
still.
it. Two attacks knock up. I didn't want to believe it at first, but we checked it. It is true. 2 attack knock up.
Oh, it's
Because
disgusting.
I used to play Xin Zhao jungle with the old Devourer, and it was good. So yeah.
But Asmo, you mentioned Vayne. I've heard a few people, mainly the hopeful, on /r/League of Legends meta, saying, "Hey guys, why don't we try Devourer Vayne? Has anyone actually seen it yet?" 'Cause
I read something about Devourer Vayne with tanky items, like going. I think. Let me check that. Devourer and one more item. I think Borg, and then going full tank.
I mean, they
what do you
never
think?
see it coming. No one would expect it. They'd all focus you, like in that TSM versus CLG.
You will have a hard time killing a Vayne that is tanky because she also got her stealth and her tumble and everything.
Yeah.
But
I mean, maybe?
It would take a while for her to ramp up. Like once she's got those 2 damage items,
yeah, but
only then does she get taken.
lane Vayne also takes a lot of time to ramp up. So
True.
You can jungle Vayne though easily.
especially with the blue buff.
It
Okay,
depends on who their jungler
that
is.
will be changed anyways.
If you're going to get super camped, it's just going to be an awful experience for everyone involved.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
It's kind
What
of
about-
interesting.
Do you think that these Devourer jungles, as we've said, like open up opportunities for the old aggressive junglers, like a
Oh,
Lee
yeah.
Sin, like a Jarvan, like a Kha'Zix?
I mean, they're coming back already. I mean,
Yeah,
we saw
I think so,
Jarvan actually on Warriors sometimes back. We saw Lee Sin. I guess Rek'Sai goes for
do
Warrior
both,
more
yeah.
often these days.
Also the reason why it won't change that much, like it will change a lot, and there will be new champions, but it won't change that much because also like the champions that were strong before are also getting the benefits from the Devourer. Like let's say Vi, who gets to proc her denting blows every second hit. That's just ridiculous. So even the strong junglers are also getting the benefits from that, so they will stay strong.
So would you take Devourer Vi, or would you rather go Warrior and bash all over your enemy's face?
I'd probably go Warrior myself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Depends
people...
on the game. Depends
yeah,
on the game.
that's true, that's true. But a lot of people say about the Devourer is 2 hits. But does that matter? Because
It also
it's
takes
really
time
a
to ramp
Q&E.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I'd rather
matters
have the
against
early game.
it matters against very tanky compositions. Like so, if you're against really tanky team and that you cannot really affect the game early too much, then maybe that's the way to go. But if you can, if you have good lanes to gank and good ways to put pressure early on, then the Warrior would be better, of course.
I mean, as a matter of preference, I prefer to play Vi in that sort of full damage, just ult their ADC, one-shot them with a Triforce, and then, tell everyone you died a hero.
Yeah, but you can do that with the Devourer as well.
Yeah, you can easily do that with Devourer.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't know. I've seen a few Devourer Vi's in solo queue, and they've just been really bad. Like, her early game completely disappears because she doesn't have that, fast warrior enchant with the armor pen and stuff, and it's just by the time her Devourer is stacked up, like it doesn't matter anymore. People are too tanky. Like,
just sort of getting a bit ahead of us here. Has anyone seen the changes to Warrior on the PvE?
no.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
I wouldn't like to talk much about the PvE, to be fair,
Yeah.
because it's
There
way
might
too
not
much
be.
in the future, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like we don't
Yeah.
even know how Devourer is going yet, so we don't know how. I wouldn't like to go too much in the future.
Well, for those who don't know, it's just they're giving a bit of true damage, like a sort of
the
burn.
old spirit, the older lizard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, kinda
basically
like that.
So that will help versus tanks. So they're clearly trying to bring all 3 enchantments onto the same tier.
Well,
We'll
all
have to
four,
see.
all 4.
Well, yeah, all 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we say that. I'd sort of count Runeglaive and Warrior together, just so you have.
Oh yeah,
early
the
tank
yeah.
Devourers.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that,
So the 3
it's good
play
they have
styles, you mean?
an idea. Yeah,
Rather.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
One more thing. Rengar was the only jungler who built Feral Flare last time. Do you think he will be good with
Only
Devourer?
what?
Rengar.
Yeah, but he's not the only jungler who built Feral Flare. What?
Yeah, but the only one who actually saw some competitive play.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, I talked wrong.
Yeah, I understand. Because you saw like Dandy worlds with it and stuff. Yeah.
I don't think
Maybe.
like Devourer is way too slow for a champion. Like it's the opposite
Yeah.
of a champion that we want Devourer on, like especially in competitive play.
Mhm.
It depends if you go for the full damage
Or full tank.
one-shot Rengar or for the tanky Rengar.
I think
because-
the tanky Rengars like Dandy would like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, also, I mean, Rengar is, I'd say, pretty bad at ganking when he doesn't have his ultimate, so he will have some farm time anyways. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it
true.
will take a bit longer, of course.
Yeah.
to
The thing
get
is, the moment when you hit enough gold to buy your Devourer, you are level 6.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And then your
also
your
they
first
they
gank.
nerfed it, so champions only give 1 stack anymore. I mean, oh, actually, one thing that I wanted to mention that sort of not every person seems to see in the patch notes is it's now takedowns. So takedowns mean kill or
assists.
assist.
Yeah, that's like a
Um,
big thing,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I mean,
Well-
that just makes me happy, when your laners come along and they just last hit the race that you've just been, At least we still get the stack. So that's
Or
always nice.
something like, doing Dragon is promoted so much. Also, you don't
Yeah,
even need to
5
last hit it.
stacks.
I mean, if you suck at smiting, hey, Saint, here, have a good item for you.
Well, the problem is we already
Oh.
tested it a bit. You don't get it when you miss
Not
smite and the
assist.
enemy gets it.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
good. That's good.
That's good because otherwise it would be a bit ridiculous.
But if you miss smites for your own team, and
Then
but your
yeah.
own
Yeah,
team
yeah,
gets
sure.
it, and
I mean,
If you
if
have
you
a
miss smite, you
Kalista
don't
who
deserve it.
outsmites you,
Junglers of the world, please still try to hit your smite.
yes.
This isn't an excuse.
Well, I still got my Devourer stack. Okay.
Do you want to
Yeah.
just go straight down?
We
Runeglaive?
talked about Devourer quite a bit. One thing that I actually wanted to talk about is the wolf. Does anybody have any idea why the wolf exists?
so that you can spot Shaco.
Yeah. when
Does
he
it work
queues.
with Eve as well? I haven't seen.
Probably.
Devourer.
Probably.
Yes.
It's
No,
Yeah,
no,
but if you see
Rico.
the wolf, I guess you will also see Eve.
Mm. I mean, it's just there for the Shaco and Earth and nothing else really.
I mean,
Actually-
Ride is always so good with. I played Dota for a bit, and I actually wanted to switch at one point because like after the fishy ruling, I was a bit anti-Riot because they were so fishy about it. Nowadays I get it, but I was anti-Riot and I was like, I'm going Dota now, and
It's
then
all over.
everything felt so clunky and so bad, and abilities that actually did no damage had like huge sounds, and like Riot is really good with that. So putting
Yeah.
something in for no reason is really strange for them. In my
I
It's a
would
opinion.
name
be-
Invoker.
they always
Maybe.
go on about all these
Yeah.
clarity changes and like
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
what does that wolf do that you need to
Clarity,
see it
yeah.
for?
Yeah.
You know,
That's and it doesn't even look good. Like it's
no,
just
it does.
Just accepts
really
it, you know.
like out of place. I don't know.
Should be like a skin you could buy instead or something. I don't know.
Actually,
could
they,
make
they, they
tests.
want to make wolf
Getting
chromas.
lonely.
That is the thing. They want to make wolf chromas.
Oh my god.
You laugh, but you know people would.
At least
Yeah.
Of course they would.
at least when I play Warwick and I farm the jungle alone, I have a friend.
You
now.
have a friend. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think it's just there to stop depression. It's just so you have a friend. You don't get lonely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it would probably make sense if you would get it when you're finished, so that the wolf actually does the second time.
Nah, because then
the
you two
second
become
hit,
one. And you merge together. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
fusion
Yeah,
dash.
the wolf becomes one with you. Haven't you seen every second attack? It makes like a purple spirit thing.
Yeah,
also
it's brilliant.
like hit. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's
That
so
one is actually
unnecessary.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
But you see the effect going off, and that actually has some kind of function.
I mean, that just
Yeah,
really
but-
confuses me though. When you're maybe this is just me, but if you have really high attack speed, I lose track of if I'm on the double hit auto or off, because all you see is just this purple guy stood next to you, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I wish they'd put like a little icon in the corner, just saying this is a double hit. Or-
Yeah, I
or
guess.
that would be quite nice.
Yeah, but when you have high attack speed, that's
It
like,
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
good
gonna
attack.
get. you're
At
not
least
getting
you
past
still get
5
to do
attacks.
damage.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Okay, I think that just about wraps it up for Devourer, right?
Yeah. So do you want
Yeah.
to just go straight down to Runeglaive?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
guess that's
pretty big.
where is it? There it is. Runeglaive, 50 AP,
More damage.
one attack base. What do you think?
It's more damage, less Ludens.
Yes.
That's, I mean, that's quite good that they've got rid of the Ludens proc. But if you were watching the what's it called, Primetime League the other day, they sort of did a breakdown, and it goes to show that the Ludens wasn't actually that much of Ezreal's damage on his Q
Yeah.
at least. But it's still nice because no one wants to eat that.
I think it's gonna be like Ezreal mid is gonna be even more ridiculous because, as we talked
Damage.
before, AP champions get more AP now in total in their final build, and this gives you just more AP
Maybe.
and higher base attack damage on the spell blade ratio.
Yeah.
So it's just purely more damage, and it's like it doesn't proc Ludens or Q on Q, but it procs the Ludens on your other spells as Ezreal. So it's
Could
just gonna be purely more damage.
Can
So,
you clear something up for me? Like, does Ezreal's ult still proc both Ludens and
Yeah.
Runeglaive, or just?
Did his ult prop Runeglaive before?
No, I don't think it's all did.
no.
That make no
Uh,
sense.
It's a Sheen modifier.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it was the Q that did both, was it?
Yeah,
it's the Q
his
did.
Yeah.
Q
And
now
it doesn't do
does
anymore.
Runeglaive.
Which
It's
is
only-
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or
I want
was.
to point out they have, they didn't change it in the way I thought they would, because it just says fix the bug where it was applying spell effects. So it does still change your attack into magic damage,
Yeah,
which
that's
means
the
that
whole point,
APGP still works. If you've seen that build,
Yeah, I've seen
you go
that.
for the
It
crits.
shouldn't proc Ludens though.
No, that would be that was far too balanced.
Yeah.
Kappa.
But yeah, it's same with AP Nasus, right? It's gonna just turn your basic attack into magic damage. Like that's the whole point of the item, so that AP champions who also auto attack can get some.
Get
benefit.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but the spell ratio. I mean, will we see 80 start Ezreal a bit?
What you mean, like start Dorans?
Yeah, something like that. Because
It
now
says
the
base
Dorans
attack
get
damage.
applied 100%.
No, but it's base attack damage.
Yeah, the base attack
Yeah.
damage doesn't involve like any items, runes. It's
Yeah.
just the base attack damage of the champion.
I thought
Does
it
that
was
include
like I
scaling
thought
per level?
No.
they meant the Sheen gives 150%. I thought they meant that.
It's just the native attack damage of the champion.
Because it doesn't actually scale off of AP.
Okay,
It's a bit weird. It scales off
then
damage.
I'm stupid.
Otherwise,
Okay,
you
thank
could like one shot with Gangplank late game.
I do.
just- Yeah, but you could even like on tanks even. That would be
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Okay.
APGP's fun though.
So, let's ask who will take this to the mid lane.
I don't think there's going to be too much change.
So yeah, same champions. It's just going to be a little bit different, but I think stronger overall.
Yeah.
And will we see some Runeglaive junglers pop up? Some new ones?
I don't think anyone
Uh,
wouldn't have used it before.
Just the usual suspects, I guess. Nidalee, Evelyn.
I mean, it's been
Yeah.
pointed out a few times that anyone that would use Runeglaive, other than basically Diana, also would have used Magus, also can use, Devourer in some cases.
Mm.
It's
Or Syndra, yeah.
yeah, or
Elise.
Cinderhawk. Elise, Nidalee,
Actually, everybody can
Poppy.
use Cinderhawk one way or another.
Copy Jungle. Screw it.
Mm. I mean,
It's not too huge.
the
Just
thing
nice.
with AP Ezreal not being good before was that his early game was weak.
Had no
now-
wave clear.
Yeah, no wave clear real. And then, you get Runeglaive, which is now buffed early again, because it's the first item you build.
Hmm.
That actually makes him, even though you don't get the Luden's thing, it's still good for
It's still
early
good,
game
yeah.
Ezreal. And then you also have the late game AP items being better. That also benefits AP Ezreal. So overall, he might not even get nerfed from this, which is
I'm
kind
so
of
sure,
ridiculous.
just
I think it
ban him.
actually is a buff overall because his ult. The only thing, like his Q will do more damage, but it doesn't proc the AOE Ludens, right? So but overall his Q will do about the same damage because it's a more AD ratio, more AP, but it will do no Ludens proc. But you get the
Just-
Ludens proc from all the other skills, and all the other skills will do more damage.
Or no,
Yeah.
not really enough. Okay.
Okay, I think that wraps it up for Runeglaive.
Righteous Glory then. If we're literally just going straight down the patch notes.
I think we can do that.
Okay.
So Righteous Glory, nerfed, of course.
Definitely needed.
Yeah, I guess supports who built it before will still build it.
Yeah.
Top laners, I guess as well,
Less.
because most top laners who actually build it, because I think was it anyone else than Maokai in the top lane really?
Nah, I can't think
I mean,
of it.
just less champions will build it in general because it's not gonna be like the go-to item.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a choice. Like if you really need engage and the item fits, you just get it. Otherwise, everybody just would pick it. Like we play Amumu jungle, you just pick this item because it's great for engaging. Like, and he doesn't need it, but it's just a great item. So
Yeah.
you would build it anyway.
So like
like-
Maokai probably still gets it. But
Yeah.
Sejuani,
Champions,
for example,
yeah.
just don't need it.
Yeah, that's the point. It's still a great item.
Yeah, it's still good, just not as dominant as it was, which is good. It was ridiculous before.
Okay, so I brought this up once in a conversation, but what do you think about Talisman of Ascension in this context? It far lower cooldown now than Righteous Glory.
Yeah.
about the same price point, maybe even
It's
a bit
been
better.
buffed. It's been buffed
It's being
before
buffed,
to
yeah.
give more gold and like more region overall. So it's a good item, and will be built like on all the supports that gold coin and like engage. So it's a good item to build, and I think it's the highest gold generation for supports.
Yeah.
So
I
when
think
you
so,
play
yeah.
when
You'll
you play
probably-
solo queue and you want to like develop your build, you have some items that you want to build and you want to get a lot of gold. That's probably the way to go.
Also, because it gives all that mana, you'll definitely still be getting it. Like we said, there's a lot more sustain coming into the meta right now. So Soraka, Nami, anyone with a heal basically will
It's-
probably pick it now instead of Spell Thieves, because you're not going to have, because your jungler's probably not going to get Righteous Glory. And so someone should have that speed boost.
So do you think the tanky supports will
Forgo it.
be less in the future?
Well-
Nautilus, Shen.
You see
Well,
some of those
Thresh.
guys not doing Face of the Mountain, and you see them swapping out there, because obviously the Relic Shield is nice for the sustain early in lane,
But it's useless later.
but then later you can swap it out for a coin if you. Obviously, it's not as much health as a face, but it's got more utility. And you even see some supports like Annie and Alistar building both a Righteous Glory and a Talisman, because why not?
Because you got to go fast.
But again, it depends. Like in solo queue, Face of the Mountain still a good item because
Yeah.
you can use the shield is just really really good in solo
is.
queue. But in teams overall, the speed ups are way more important. So if you have a good team play, then it's good to get the speed up items, especially Talisman.
Okay. I guess the last thing from the items, Spirit Visage.
Yeah, Soraka buff. Brilliant.
Yeah.
You might
Mostly.
see.
And like an Italy maybe. If we see like more of the Juggernaut compositions, the AD carry may actually build instead of Banshees the Spirit Visage as a defensive item.
Yeah.
And so that when you have the shields and heals and the lifesteal, he just benefits more from that, and you can keep him. Like Kalista and Ridiculous right now, the team compositions that teams build. Like we've seen like Lulu top, Nunu jungle, and Lulu support, and you have like for Janna support, and you have 3 supports with Kalista, which is getting healed and shielded.
Yeah.
So overall, I think Riot is really pushing now, like really pushing for the let's call it perfect balance. Like everything is viable.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's in a good spot.
So
They're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
Like,
do you think this is
roughly.
good? Like this is a pretty general question, and it's probably won't be answered here. But do you think this is good that they really go for this almighty best patch of all time that fixes everything and every champion is viable, or do you think it's better that if some champions rise, some champions fall because of patches?
It's gonna be hard to ban stuff
Mm.
if everything's good.
I mean,
It definitely
always,
helps competitive a lot.
Yeah, it's always going to be the case that something is the strongest. You cannot ever
Yeah.
make it so that
Yeah.
everything is even.
But
So
it's close right now.
yeah, except it's closer. So more
Yeah.
things is viable, and there's more room for strategy. So I really like the changes mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just how metas work, isn't it? It's usually just some sort of circle. Well, that's what you want, at least.
Yeah.
To get
Yeah.
the most strategic
people-
diversity again.
I mean, I don't know, 'cause I've got friends who play Dota, and they say that sometimes the meta gets a bit stale because the patches aren't as regular as Riot's ones, and you get, I think it's nice to have different champions rising and falling in power, because you get bored of the same ones played over and over again, and you want things to be changed up a bit. Otherwise, it just gets a bit stale and it stagnates.
And it's fun to figure out what's gonna be
What's
good and
good.
what's gonna be bad. It's
Yeah.
like part of the game as well.
Yeah.
I think everyone here enjoys that part of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we're literally making a weekly meta
Yes,
talk.
that's why we're here.
Yeah.
For a discussion about it.
I mean, if they don't do patches anymore, we can't do weekly
Then
meta
we're-
talks anymore.
then this is all going to be over.
Shit.
Riot,
Then
please.
we need a new hobby. Shit.
Right, please
okay.
make something OP for us.
Yeah. So, I want to talk about one last thing, that is Tham Kensh. I mean, we can't say
French.
much about Tham Kensh right now. It's a bit too early, but I just want to hear your general opinions. What do you think of him?
Well, I've seen him about twice because he's been permabanned. Thank God.
I've seen him a lot.
I've seen him a lot as well.
I've only seen him banned twice, and I've played quite a lot of games. So he seems pretty good, actually, pretty strong. And the fact that his damage scales with health means that even as a support, he has a reasonable amount of damage sometimes.
I mean, I had the most soul-crushing experience of my life yesterday. So I was playing Aatrox, testing out Devour. Brilliant, 1v3, focusing down Tam, get him to double-digit health. Oh, it's brilliant. One more. Oh, wait, no, shit, he's got a shield for his full health. Okay. I'm not a fan of that one. But, oh God. Yeah.
I mean, the shield decays really fast, so it kind of balances out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
think
really
he's a bit
frustrating
overtuned.
to play against, though, when you're in bot lane and you're focusing their ADC, and then Tam suddenly eats
Just
the
eats him,
ADC
and you're just like, okay.
splits it out
Yeah.
and saves him, and then you're like, oh, damn it.
It's actually really funny because it gives ADCs kind of like a Sonya's, right? You can get
Yeah.
out of
Exactly,
ulti and all that. That's very interesting.
It's better than Azonian's because Tam can actually move. He can eat the
Yeah.
ADC and then flash
Run
away.
away.
Yeah, that's one thing. But on the other hand, Zonius is way better on mid laners because they're way more dependent on their cooldowns, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But just the concept of having a Sonya's
sure.
thing on,
Yeah.
or not an item, but it's kind of
invincibility. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, not
I'm
invincibility.
gonna definitely try to make him work in the jungle and the top lane.
I've seen
I think,
success in the jungle.
like returning to the top lane with your ultimate, even things like that, or his kit is very versatile, which I like. So I'm gonna try to make him work there and see how it goes.
He's a bit overtuned, but so's every champion when they come out.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
so want to make that mad cash money.
Except for Bard, he was shit as he came out.
I think Echo was
but
perfectly balanced when he came
Tham
out.
Kensh win rate is like 30-something% right now, so it's really bad because people obviously like don't know how
Don't
to
know how
play
to
Yeah, he's got quite.
with
Sure.
with
learning
him and
curve.
as him. So it's gonna take time before people learn how to play around it.
I thought for some time, why not use him mid lane? I mean, he has the same range as TF with his like not the same, but pretty much the same range. And then I thought, yeah, but why wouldn't you just play TF then?
Yeah.
And then the argument is over.
I mean, I've seen him in every single role except for ADC.
We will see that.
And
I want to
mean,
see
he's-
max attack speed Tham Kensh.
I mean, he has 2 health bars. What could go wrong?
I mean, I'm not a fan of full AP Tam because that's the rhyme step. Because you're 1v1ing him, and you're like, right, I need to kill him in under a second. Because the second he gets that third auto off, he just eats you. And if he's got enough AP, it literally one-shots you. And I was like, you know what? I don't know why I try anymore. It's the most depressing experience you can have. It's ridiculous.
I think his ult's just really strong as well. I've had a Tam on my team and I've been jungling and he just goes behind the tower. It's similar to a Bard gank, I guess, but less obvious. And then you just suddenly appear behind their bot lane and kill them. It's really strong.
Yeah, the team play of this champion is so huge that it's gonna be definitely played in competitive play. I think,
Yeah.
even if it's gonna be kind of weak in terms of like stats and how much damage he does or how much health he has, etc. His utility is just so huge that he's gonna be played definitely.
I mean,
What you gotta think-
just the fact that he destroys literally every assassin by just eating your AD carry and running away.
It's kind of like Kayle, I guess. Kayle destroys assassins in the same way.
Does he give invincibility to whoever he eats, or
I
is
think-
he just untargetable?
Wait,
Just untargetable, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
so
What you
Still
gotta
take
try-
damage over time,
You-
ignites and stuff.
What you got to try is you got to try the 4-man ganks. If you've seen it.
you don't move anymore. Could you restart your cam for a second?
Oh, I just haven't moved in a while. So what you got to think about is the 4-man ganks. Is that better?
We're loading.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Shen, Kalista.
Okay,
Uh,
now you sound like shit.
Oh god damn.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
now
somebody
we
say
got
that.
it. We got
the
it.
4-man gang. Yeah, you know. What I mean.
Oh, now it's good. Now it's good.
Okay. Shen,
Okay.
Shen, Kalista, and then Tham Kensh, and Kalista binds to someone else. You get that 4-man gank. It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
So now it's, I guess, everybody gank top lane instead of everybody gank bot lane.
I'm sure Dyrus will be happy.
Yeah.
Yay.
Tilted since MSI.
Ooh.
Okay, well, I think we have one more thing in the patch notes that is pretty important. Kalista got nerfed.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm
That's really
really
nice.
Thank God.
It's just very painful to play as a melee champion that tries to chase her.
I was,
now-
Yeah.
I
Or
was
like
an
if she's
Olaf game
chasing
for
you.
Olaf main for 10 games. Then I played against the Kalista and stopped being an Olaf main.
Yeah. I think just the Q thing in itself is so big. Not being able to, do the triple dash instantly is, taking away a champion's utility is always just, that can destroy them sometimes.
I should note that she's not completely nerfed into the ground.
No.
No, of
She's
course
still
not.
No.
she's still one of, if not the best ADCs. It's still Kalista, Civic, Corki.
Mhm.
But
Taking
to
away
have-
utility is just
yeah, it's now she's
Well,
more
we
fallible.
saw the recent rise of Tristana again.
Yeah.
We saw her a bit more. Yeah,
I mean,
just
yeah,
wanted to throw that in there.
okay.
Yeah,
And
okay.
hope that somebody would pick up the ball, but
Okay, that's just Pope beating Tank, isn't it? Once again.
yeah. What would you think if Kalista wouldn't have her slow on her rent anymore?
I'd think brilliant. I'd sing songs of praises. I'd become the world's most devout Christian you've ever seen. Pray to Jesus every day. Unfortunately, it's not happened yet.
Yeah.
I wish. That would make her a lot more balanced. A lot. I mean, because she's already got, she can get away or stick to anyone. The slow is just excessive. She already has her passive. She doesn't really need
It's
slow
just-
as well.
Makes it hopeless for whoever
Yeah,
is trying
there's no
to
escape.
Cry in a corner
Yes.
or in a death chamber. Okay, so I guess that wraps up the patch. So
Nautilus nerf, yeah, not much.
yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't really do much.
Very needed, but not much.
it's the important things of the patch, anyways.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
everything major.
Oh, actually, Rek'sai.
That's
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Rex.
that one was
that's
pretty
it's
big.
quite big if you. It-
So anyone played Rek'Sai until the nerf?
I don't really play it that much.
I played her before the nerf, and as I've talked, I think with Invoker that, or somebody else, that
Yeah.
it was already difficult to knock somebody up when they were escaping you and you chase somebody because
Yeah.
of the range that was not too big. So when you now try to unborrow it, you have to be even closer to them. So it's going to be even more difficult to chase people and gank and stuff like that.
I think quite a lot of it is just a comfort thing. A lot of people think it's more severe than they are because they're trying to do a knock up at a greater range. Yeah. So I don't think it's too major, but it's definitely needed.
I don't know. I almost
People
think
will
that-
adapt. People will get
I
used to
almost
it.
think that what makes Rek'Sai so strong is her sustain and that she's able to clear so well and then be healthy for a gank
Yeah.
and get around so quickly with her ult and everything.
Yeah,
Maybe they
she's
should have
just-
nerfed that rather than the knock up. I don't know.
She's just insanely well-rounded champion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay to have her be that she can stay forever and come back to and do all these other, great map movement things. But then, I mean, if that's her role, then sure, it's good to nerf the other things about her.
Has anyone seen Devourer Rek'Sai?
I mean,
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but
Not yet, but she's got the attack speed boost, so she can
Yeah.
use it.
off the
I've
top of my
seen
head,
it.
it seems like it would be sort of like release Rek'Sai, where just full damage one-shot you. Because Hydra would proc twice with Satan
yes,
Devour.
that's true.
Yeah,
it's really a good thing.
But
I've
of
seen
course,
it,
you
yeah.
always have to stack Devourer before you can
Yeah.
do anything with it.
I think she's better as you play it now, tanky, but maybe
Yeah,
it's just a thought.
Like I've seen Devourer Rek'Sai and I felt the same about it as I felt about Vi with Devourer. It just doesn't do much for her early game, and by the time she's useful and she's got it fully stacked, you've missed your opportunity to do a lot of damage in the early game and do that pressure, I guess.
Yeah. So it's there, but don't try it. Finally fixed Syndra, which is nice, but she doesn't really. I mean, she's pretty useless versus tanks. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe different builds will emerge for her.
Yeah, maybe.
The item changes.
What about Syndra support? We saw that as
Yeah, more utility with the Rylai's change.
yeah,
Yeah, I think Syndra's support can be quite good.
with just old. I saw it on somebody, the support from IM. I think he just ulted the Renekton, doesn't give a shit, and just throw out the balls. It's
Yeah.
pretty. It can be pretty good.
It's not about dealing damage.
I think
it's about
there's.
sending a
I've
message.
played it once by accident and it worked very well, but I think it was also an accident. And,
Yeah.
there are a lot of similar champions, like similar roles, similar champions that you can play, and that as a support that deals AP damage and has CC, like
mean,
Cannon,
Annie?
Cannon, for example.
Kennen, Annie, yeah.
But the thing about Syndra's stun is it's so long range.
Mm.
Yeah.
And where Annie needs to flash, and then of course you can get like a ridiculous combo off or something, but Syndra can kind of get like a long range, not pick, but you know, a CC out of nowhere sometimes,
Yeah.
which is a bit different from
Also,
Annie's.
she'd be a bit
Also,
more
Syndra-
useless early. Than
Also, with
someone
her
like Annie.
with her like 5 to 6 balls, she can of course hit a larger range of people.
Yeah, but then you might as well play Annie, who doesn't need to use the ulti first to hit more people with stuns.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
True.
So also it's a bit RNG dependent where your balls actually land.
What do you mean? Like after the ult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still gonna hit
Yeah.
most people if it's just in the middle of like if it's the middle of a fight or something, it's gonna hit people anyways.
Yeah.
Also, it's a niche pick, so not
Yeah.
everybody will know how to play against it.
Maybe it's kind of like brand support in the.
I think Brand
Some
would be
people can
much
play.
better. Like, it's gonna be so good with in this patch. With
Oh yeah,
with
brand's amazing.
items.
I got him as the mystery champion. Actually, I'm gonna try that. I mean, Brand and Scion support have seen play, so I think Syndra might, but not. It's like a big thing.
No.
She's far behind. There's a lot of different champions in the line before her for the
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
That's about it, isn't it?
Okay. So one more thing. Let's talk Shen support. We saw it.
Yeah.
I think
Oh right.
a few
Course,
times in
Yeah.
the LCS. Didn't catch on in the East yet, but maybe it will. We saw I think Bunny Fufu,
Bunny Fufu, yeah,
and
he's the-
and Kasing play it until
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So how good is it?
I think it's really good.
The magic resist buffs, obviously long deserved for Shen, but really
Yeah.
a lot bigger than I was expecting them to be.
Mhm.
To have that potential global pressure from a support counter ganking is pretty good, and it catches
Yeah.
a lot of people off guard, I think.
So I've heard this.
Font buffs.
I've heard somebody say this about Nautilus in the top lane, but it can be also said about Shen in the bot lane that the biggest advantage of having a support Shen is the fact that you have a Shen on your team.
Yeah.
Actually, wasn't it said about top Nautilus?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I said.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I think.
It's pretty huge.
I mean, he can go offensive. He can go defensive. That is I think one of the biggest things about him. That's like every tank support, or actually, no, actually only every tank support at the moment really does that.
Okay, so you were mentioning the Juggermore thing. I think it was Asmo mentioned it about how get Spirit Visage. You got that Shen Vorpal Blade heal. It's
Oh
all about
my
countering
God.
the poke meta. This is the
Oh
synergy
my.
that Riot predicted.
God, it's brilliant.
It's OP. I think his Q is actually pretty underrated.
Well, if minions would be like Dota minions and had a lot more HP, that might work. But your Q1 minion and he's half dead already. I mean,
So here's the problem I have with Shen's Q healing other people is say, I see that the Q's on something. I'm like, oh, brilliant, a heal. I then run into the middle of the enemy team, take about 7 times the damage than I would have healed. But at least I got the heal, so I'm calling Worth in all chat as I flash out and die to someone's ignite. But,
Yes.
But I think it's good on Shen support because I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys know, because I don't know if you've played him, but on Shen support, it's not like top Shen. You don't max Q, you max
No,
E
you
and then
max E.
W.
Yeah.
So your Q doesn't do that much damage to minions anyway, so you can give quite a lot of sustain to your AD.
I just want to point out that whilst we're here, when I first started playing Season 1, I mained Shen support only building Twin Shadows because they gave AP and magic resist.
Wait,
Season 1.
they weren't around in season 1.
Twin Shadows?
No. Are you
I-
sure? Are you sure?
I'm fairly certain. I don't know. I definitely
Are you
built-
sure? What
maybe
did-
it was
I
season-
That was
think it-
one
I
of
think it-
the
I think it was
season
season-
3 items that they introduced.
No, it definitely wasn't. I don't know. I built something that had magic resist and
maybe
AP. And I thought it was brilliant.
a wit's end, something
Maybe.
like that.
Oh God, I don't remember. I hardly played, but I play like once every few weeks.
I'm pretty sure it was very late that was introduced.
I was ahead of the meta, is what I'm pointing out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all played Shen support at one point in our time.
Yeah.
It's just a Time Lord Doc, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just a time loss. That's what you got to accept. Me and Genja, we hang every day.
Did you see the little sketch in Summoning Insight from Thorin where he like goes into the mountains?
No.
Yeah, I know.
Adam.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've heard that.
It was a lot of fun. Anyways, so is there anything anybody wants to talk about?
We've mentioned all the sort of hidden OPs. Basically, long story short, Devourer is not as super OP as I thought it would be.
But it's strong.
It's still strong, but it's not as ridiculously balanced.
Yeah,
as
I
before.
also thought it would be insanely overpowered.
Yeah, I'm happy that
It sounds like that, but it actually works okay. Like so far, we don't know yet for sure, but so far it looks okay.
I don't know. I feel like it's really, really good on Kayle at the moment, but
Oh, yeah.
maybe I'm just lucky.
The best
and
thing,
AP
the best
bruises.
thing for me, the best thing about it for me is that it brings the less viable champion up more than it brings the more viable champion, so it evens out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, I guess that wraps it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of the Meta Forecast. We will be back next week with a bit of a different panel, hopefully at least. So, we'll see you then.
Oh, shots fired.
We're out of jobs now.
We're
Wait.
fired. We're all fired.
No, you were great. You were great. Don't downplay yourself. Okay, so
As
tuning
we-
off.